So, time to look a little more at the Rust Monster, as I've named this old Nissan King Cab that we bought as a forest car. The support bearing for the drive shaft is doing a somersault at times, making a bad sound. At least I think that's what's making the sound. Well, it got better after we replaced it. But I have a question. Can the rear axle shift forward on the leaf springs on these Nissan King Cabs? If anyone views this and knows, let me know, because as you will see at the end of the video, it was like impossible to get the new support bearing in place. We ended up drilling new holes and kind of moving it forward a little. And there are plenty better videos on how to do this job on a Nissan King Cab, so go find one of those if you're looking for support. This one has a little bit of a difference compared to some of the other videos I looked at before tackling this task. Since it was freezing cold, we decided to get the drive shaft inside. Some split the joint, but this one has a different kind of PTO, or well, I'm not sure what they call these drive joints, because they are bolted. Here they have a circlip and are pressed into place. And we looked if it was possible to get a, a tool in there and simply undo the one part, one yoke without splitting it. That was not gonna happen. So cleaned up a little, found this circlips that are locking things, and everything is packed full of crud and rusty. So at least they were well greased inside, even if two of the three joints does not have any grease fittings on them. Eventually, with enough cleaning and enough tapping, both the circlips holding them in, not sure if you call them buckets, or but it's kind of a needle bearing in there, and trying to hammer things apart. The bench was too weak. We moved to the table, to the floor that's more solid, and eventually, with enough hammering, things started moving. So one side came out, and then we could hammer the other one side out. And as you have the two buckets out, you can get it apart. And once apart, we had access to the nut holding things in place. So, and that required more hammering because it's on splines, and I would guess crud and corrosion over the years. And the support bearing itself, the bearing actually moved surprisingly well. I thought that would be toast, but it turned out that the rubber, and it was kind of pushed forward enough that I think it had jumped out of the clamp holding it, and that's why I wonder if the rear axle can move forward and push extra hard on this, or if they have replaced the drive shaft. Do they come in different lengths? I have no clue really what's doing it. The new bearing went on there, a few taps to get it to start going on there, and then the yoke was lined up, and the nut, and just used that to press it into place. And it slid right down there. Things could be tightened up. Time to put the CV joint. No, I don't think it's called CV joint. Someone will probably comment below what's the proper English term for these drive shaft joint things are. As English is not my first language. But some tapping, well, hammering, and then a big clamp and pressing things into place, and some hard hits towards the end to get it all the way in fully seated, and then the clips could be secured again. And with the clips in place, we could start moving out and installing it in the car. And here it's where we really realized how far back you have to force the rubber to have a chance of. We thought we had it installed the wrong way, but it doesn't really matter because it's kind of centered. The rubber part is centered on the bearing itself, so it wouldn't matter what way you installed it. But it's like 4 centimeters, two and a half. No, what's that in stupid measurements? 1.5 banana. So we decided to drill and move the support bearing for now. Well, we had a really dull drill to start with, but once we got hold of some better drills, it was possible to start drilling holes and installing it. Since it had a welded threaded nut on there, we had to install some bolts with a nut underneath. Even if we would have wanted to move it even a little further forward, but couldn't because of some other restrictions. It was plenty easy to get it installed in this location. So that's what we're doing for now. Uh, More on the forest machines in the next video.